Yo, it's Trent. Hope everyone's having a good day, good weekend so far. I mean, Sundays are blah, 'cause Monday tomorrow, but what are you gonna do? We got, going for a walk before Thanksgiving dinner turned into a five-person hotbox. And I know a lot of people can relate to this, because, well, maybe not the hotbox, but, you go to Thanksgiving, you have cousins or uncles or someone, around your age, and you're like, hey, we should go smoke before we eat, right? It's always nice, it's always fun. The only time it's negative is if it's like your first time doing it or like you come back too zooted, and then you're sitting there and they're saying grace and stuff and you're just sitting there like, man, what have I put myself into? And if I sound, stuffed up, still sick, but whatever, right? So first of all, to set the stage, which I've been saying a lot recently, I gotta think of like a new phrase for that, but you know, it was me and my older cousin, right? The one that's like 4 or 5 years older than me, and I may have had another cousin there. I don't know if this is the year that I met him or if he came around like a year later. But all I know is that we decided to go for a walk about, I don't know, 15 minutes. That sounds about right. 15, 20 minutes before the food was ready. And the reason we knew that we were good to go is because, the food's getting made, turkey, mashed potatoes, all that stuff, right? But they would always do the rolls when everything was done because no one wants to burn the rolls, and it only takes like what, 10 minutes or I don't know how long it takes to make rolls, but it's not long, right? So they always did that at the end. So when they started the rolls, that's when we would go on our walk and we knew, okay, we have however many minutes. So we leave and we'd always walk down, because my grandma's house was on a hill. So we'd walk down and you could either go straight and there's a little beach area or you can go right and you go by all these houses, all these places and stuff. One second, let me grab a tissue so I can just so anyways, we're walking to the right. We're going by all these houses and it was cold, but it wasn't like freezing. It was like 40 something degrees. So I definitely had a hoodie on, but probably still had shorts on. And I remember there was a couple people outside, which I was surprised by because it was still pretty cold, but whatever, right? We keep walking, and this is back when, like, I didn't even bring a lot of stuff with me to these events. Like, nowadays, I would have a cart with me, probably a joint or two. Like, I'd have stuff with me. But back then, I was like 14 or 15, and so I always relied on my cousin to have stuff, which she did and we usually smoked bowls. So I don't remember if we were like walking with a bowl or what we were doing, right? But we probably walked for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Me, her, and maybe my other cousin. I still can't remember if he was there, right? But anyways, we start walking back, and sorry, when we walk back, a car pulls up next to us, right? And I'm thinking it's a family member. I'm thinking like, oh, they caught us, like they probably saw us leave and then were like, let's go scare the kids or whatever, right? But it wasn't. It was these two older girls that looked my cousin's age, right? And I can't remember to this day if either of them were cute because it was getting dark out, so I don't remember what their faces looked like. I just remember one of them was like taller, like bigger, and she had blonde hair. She was the one driving. And the passenger, she was kind of shorter. She had glasses, right? And so they're like, hey, do you guys want to smoke? And it seemed like they knew my cousin, but my cousin was kind of like iffy about it. She was like, no, that's okay. We don't want to get in. But me, because I was younger and I wasn't as smart, and I didn't read that, like, I didn't read the scenario that my cousin wasn't too big into these girls. I was like, yeah, we'll hop in, let's smoke, because I just wanted to get as high as possible. So we go in there with the bowl or whatever, and I think we packed one for everybody, but then they had joints. And I think they had two big ones, right? And they were talking for a second about like high school and stuff. And I don't even think I was in high school yet, or I was just going into high school. But they were talking to my cousin, so they must have known each other, but like not been friends, you know what I mean? But for some reason, they just asked us if we wanted to hop in, so we did. And we were right by our house, too. We were like 2 houses away from our grandma's house. And we were just sitting in there smoking, right? And my cousin kept kind of referring to the time. She was like, hey, do we have to be back, for the dinner stuff? And I knew we still had like 5, 10 minutes. So I was like, we're good. But I could sense that, or I didn't sense it. Now I know that she wanted to leave, but I didn't sense it at the time. So I keep ripping these joints until finally we get done, right? And like I said, possibly my other cousin was there. That's why I don't know if it's a 5-person or 4-person Hotbox. Just, my memory's screwed. So we're in there for a while, and, I was waiting, honestly, for a text from, like, my mom or my aunt or somebody that, knew what we were doing, but, wasn't with us to be like, hey, come back. But we didn't get that text after, like, 5 more minutes of sitting there, so I initiated. I was like, okay, we should probably go. And my cousin, her face was like, finally. And, so we walk back, and I was so high, right? Like, I'm sitting there, and I was used to, like, smoking one bowl with my cousin. We just smoked 2 joints with these girls, possibly my other cousin. We walk back, and I remember my grandma saying that we made the house smell, right? And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, man, that's crazy. I don't think that's us, but I knew it was us, right? Now, this is what I'm talking about when it gets scary, right? Or the only time that you don't want to do it. So we go sit down there, right? And if you smoke bud, especially if it's cold outside, it takes a little bit to kick in. Not a little bit, but it takes like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, right? So we got out of this girl's car, and we walked in there, and I was stoned, but I wasn't like blasted yet. And we're sitting down there, and as the table's like finishing being set, we're holding hands, like I was saying earlier, holding hands for the grace stuff. I was like, man, saying prayer stuff. I was like, man, I'm high, like, whew. And I'm looking at my cousin, and she's like smiling at me a little bit. But, it's the prayer, so you got to be quiet. So I'm sitting there, even I'm not religious, but, I'm not going to ruin the prayer for other people. So I'm sitting there just like trying to keep my cool, not laugh or anything, right? Which I didn't. I was fine. Get the food, right? Ate a little bit of it, but I had the giggles in me, right? And I couldn't hear all the way across the table because we had like probably 20, 25 family members there. So it's a big table, it's hard to hear when everyone's talking. So all the way down the table, I hear my grandpa telling a story. Now, I thought it was a funny story, right? Because his facial expressions and the way he was like bouncing around, like his body was moving. But really, I think he was telling like a real serious story, or he was talking about like, I don't know, someone that passed away, or maybe his parents or something. But I just start dying laughing because I thought he was telling a joke, right? I start dying laughing. I'm looking to my right. No one else is laughing. Everyone's looking at me like, what are you doing, right? And my cousin texts me, and she's like, what just happened, And I'm like, I don't even know. I shouldn't be here. Like, I'm not feeling too great. Like, I was feeling great, but you get what I mean? Around all these family members, I did not want to be that high. So I go to the bathroom, or I ask to go to the bathroom, whatever you call it, excused myself. I go to the bathroom, and I sit, and I look at myself in the mirror. And I'm like, you got to get your shit together, man. And I'm like breathing. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, you can do this, And I go back down there, and people are getting done eating, so I'm eating a little bit. But I remember they always have, like, I can't remember what the exact game was, but it was the Lions and somebody. The Lions always play on Thanksgiving. So we're watching football, and people are starting to take naps, because that's what happens after Thanksgiving. People sleep, usually, sometimes. I'm sitting there just zooted, watching the football game, laying back there, and then all I remember is waking up, and when I fell asleep, it was probably, I don't know, 6 to 7 p.m. When I woke up, it felt like it was the middle of the night, dude, and everybody was leaving. I was leaving, too, with my mom and stuff. Oh, my head was so messed up. I wasn't high anymore, but I was like, man, that was weird, right? It was a good Thanksgiving, though. It really was. It was like, it was just, being young, getting high as shit, eating as much as I could, and then passing out. I mean, that's what you hope for, right? And the Hotbox, like, I guess I didn't get too into detail about that, but when we were in there, dude, I'd only been in like one other Hotbox, so my eyes were burning. Like, I know when I walked in there, into the house, like, I looked high as shit. Like, now when I smoke, my eyes will get lower. Like, I'll be like, yeah, man, but my eyes won't be red. But back then, they'd be so red. But all right, I gotta go before I just sneeze everywhere. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you sub, share, like, comment. Check out my other videos. I'm sorry that I was wiping my nose. That's kind of nasty. So my bad for that. But if I didn't, I just have to keep restarting this video. So thanks for watching. Be safe. And if you ever need anything, you can hit me up on Insta. My Insta's in the bio of the YouTube. Hit me up, I'll answer. But be safe. Have a good weekend. Good week. Peace out.